Hey everyone! Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Jane, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Young and the Restless, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. According to The Young and the Restless spoilers on Monday, July 21st, Lily Winters and Audra Charles will have a terrifying encounter while Carter is interrogated by Nick Newman. For starters, Audra and Kyle Abbott will have to deal with the fallout from a mutual betrayal. Kyle and Audra may take their makeout session in Friday's episode to a full-fledged bedroom frolic. Whatever the case, Audra and Kyle will have to talk about their embarrassing gaffe. On Monday's episode of YNR, Kyle and Audra may decide it was a mistake they should forget. Of fact, Victor assigned Audra the mission of seducing Kyle and destroying his relationship with Claire Newman, but she never intended to go so far as to actually betray Nate Hastings. Nate will be upset enough by Damian Kane's death, and Audra will not want to add to his wrath and sadness. Kyle will not want to crush Claire, so he and Audra may make a silent pact. Unfortunately, secrets do not remain hidden for long on soap operas, so more problems is developing, especially since Audra and Kyle appear to have developed genuine affections for each other. Audra will later find herself in the garden with Lily, when they will be surprised by a noise. Given what happened to Damian, it's understandable that Lily and Audra will dread the worst. Audra will wonder who is there when they have a frightening encounter, but someone innocent and familiar may emerge from the maze instead of the true murderer. This might be a ruse to emphasize how hectic life has gotten on the site. Next, Victor and Chance Chancellor will team up to question Carter. Carter will be put on the spot when Victor questions Kane about his plan to assassinate Damian and what he may have revealed. Naturally, Carter will face allegations for any crimes he may have committed under Kane's command. Although Carter admits he would do anything for Mr. Dumas will deny killing Damian and defend his boss' innocence. Nick Newman will be placed under home arrest in the upcoming episodes. Carter will approach Nick with some backup as he makes this audacious move against him. Lily and Audra had experienced their fair share of scary events, but nothing could have prepared them for what happened that night. The poorly illuminated alleyway appeared to stretch indefinitely before them, shadows dancing ominously on the brick walls as the distant hum of the city faded into an eerie calm. Every instinct urged them to turn back, but curiosity, or possibly pure stubbornness, kept their feet moving ahead. The air was heavy with tension, the kind that made the hairs on the backs of their necks stand on edge, and the faint scent of something metallic lingered, sending a shudder down Lily's spine. Audra clutched her friend's arm hard, her nails digging in just enough to leave crescent-shaped scratches and breathing in short, irregular gasps. They had come hoping for answers, but now, in the oppressive darkness, they wondered whether they had made a grave mistake. The sound of a faraway footstep echoed, deliberate and unhurried, and both ladies froze, their hearts racing together. Someone was watching them and waiting. Before they could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall and powerful, his features shrouded by the dim light, but his mere presence chilled their blood. Victor. The name alone filled them with dread, and now he was standing mere feet away, his cold, calculating gaze fixed on them as if they were prey caught in a trap. Victor remained silent at first, allowing the stillness to intensify their anxiety. His lips twisted into a sneer that didn't reach his eyes, and when he finally spoke, his voice was smooth, almost conversational, but with an underlying threat. Lily. Audra. What a surprise. The way he pronounced their names made their skin crawl, as if he had anticipated them all along. Lily gulped hard, pushing herself to meet his stare despite her instincts to flee. Audra, normally the more composed of the two, found herself unable to form words, her throat stiff with panic. Victor moved closer, and they retreated reflexively, their backs nearly against the moist alley wall. "You've been asking questions," he said, tilting his head slightly, as if examining them. "Questions that don't concern you." The warning in his tone was clear, and Lily realized they were on dangerous terrain. Before any of them could react, Victor's gaze changed abruptly, narrowing as another figure came from the opposite end of the lane. Carter. The tension in the air increased, and the dynamic shifted abruptly as Victor's demeanor changed from frightening to overtly predatory. Carter, for his part, was uneasy but not startled to see Victor standing there, his hands jammed into his pockets in an unsuccessful attempt at nonchalance. "Victor," he said, his voice level, but with an unmistakable edge. "Didn't expect to see you here." Victor's grin expanded, but it was not nice. "Oh, I think you did," he said effortlessly, taking another step forward, this time toward Carter. Lily and Audra exchanged glances, unsure whether to stay or take advantage of the opportunity to run, but something held them back, whether it was fear or morbid curiosity, they couldn't tell. The grilling that followed was nothing short of vicious, and Victor never raised his voice. His statements were cutting and accurate, each one intended to chip away at Carter's defenses. "You've been talking to the wrong people," Victor remarked, his voice deceptively light. "And now you've drawn these two into it." Carter's jaw tensed, but he maintained Victor's gaze. "I didn't drag anyone into anything," he protested, his eyes filled with shame. Victor chuckled, sending a new surge of uneasiness through Lily and Audra. "Oh. So why are they here?" He didn't wait for an answer, instead circling Carter like a tiger assessing its prey. "You know how it works. Loose ends are wrapped up. And right now, you appear to be a pretty loose end." The threat was evident, and Carter paled slightly but did not back away. "You don't own me," he mumbled, his defiance feeble. Victor's expression hardened, and for the first time, his calm mask slipped, revealing the dangerous man underneath. "No," he acknowledged, his voice lowering to a near whisper. "However, I do own the information you've been spreading. And that makes you my problem." The air thickened, and the silence became almost painful. Lily felt herself holding her breath, her heart beating as she observed the conversation, unsure what would happen next. Audra, ever the pragmatist, was already planning escape routes, but she was confident that Victor would stop them. He was constantly 3 steps ahead. Victor finally took a step back, his smirk returning, albeit colder. "Here's what's going to happen," he stated, leaving no space for debate. "You are going to quit talking. You'll forget what you thought you knew. And if I hear even a whisper of this again..." He left the sentence hanging, the implied threat more scary than any clear warning. Carter gulped hard and gave a tiny nod, knowing he was outmatched. Victor's attention then switched to Lily and Audra, his eyes penetrating them with such intensity that they felt vulnerable. "As for you two," he replied slowly, "I recommend you learn to remain out of situations that do not concern you. Next time, I might not be so forgiving." The word was loaded with irony, and they knew it wasn't an idle threat. Victor turned on his heel and went away, his footsteps booming through the alley until he vanished into the shadows as quickly as he emerged. The tension in the air eased slightly when he left, but the terror clung to them like a second skin. Carter let out a nervous breath and ran his fingers over his hair. "You shouldn't have come here," he muttered, his voice full of sadness. Lily and Audra could only nod as the weight of the experience settled on them. They had gotten a look into a world they were never supposed to see, and now they were faced with the terrifying truth that some doors, once opened, could never be closed again. The trek back to safety was silent, with everyone engrossed in their own thoughts, rehearsing Victor's comments over and over. The meeting had altered something, upset the equilibrium in ways they couldn't really fathom. They had witnessed the full nature of the threat lurking beneath the surface, and it was far more horrifying than they had expected. As they eventually emerged from the alley and into the dim glow of the lamps, Lily couldn't escape the feeling that they were being watched, that Victor's presence was still there, a shadow just out of sight. Audra, noticing her friend's concern, reassured her by squeezing her hand, but she couldn't disguise the terror in her eyes. They had survived tonight, but the real question was, for how long? The days that followed were marked by a renewed vigilance, with every strange face posing a potential threat and every unexpected sound sending their hearts racing. Carter had vanished, leaving no trace behind, and though neither Lily nor Audra mentioned it, they both understood why. Victor's warning had been plain, and Carter had obeyed it, whether voluntarily or by force, they couldn't say. The meeting had left an imprint on them, a scar that would never fully heal, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the boundaries of their world. They had learned a painful lesson that night. Some secrets were best kept hidden, and some men, such as Victor, were not to be crossed. Despite the panic and lingering dread, there was something else, a fierce determination, an unwillingness to be fully intimidated. Lily and Audra had always been warriors. They had been rocked but not broken. The event had been both a warning and a revelation. They now knew what they were up against, and while the prospect was horrifying, it was also strangely empowering. Victor had underestimated them, and they understood it could be his biggest mistake. But for the time being, they would stay in the shadows and wait. Because if they had learned anything from their terrifying experience, it was that the game was far from over, and the next time, they would be prepared. Lily never imagined her normal late-night walk near the Chancellor Winter's headquarters would turn into a nightmare. That night, the city had a weird energy, restless, heavy, and, while she generally dismissed such instincts, something about the way the wind howled between the buildings or the sound of her own footfall rebounding too loudly in the solitude made her uncomfortable. She had just concluded a tough discussion with Billy, who was still upset with her partnership decisions, and needed a few minutes of peace before returning to her car. But that's when she noticed Audra Charles, dressed in black, her heels clicking quickly on the pavement as she turned the corner in a hurry, her face pale and her eyes wild. "Lily," Audra gasped, clutching her arm like a lifeline, "you have to get out of here. Now." There was no pretense, no arrogant confidence that Audra was used to carrying like armor. This was genuine, shivering dread. Before Lily could react or question what was going on, a huge boom echoed from the alley behind them. Both women froze. "Who is there?" Lily demanded, instinctively turning to defend Audra, even though she didn't quite understand why. A shadow slipped quickly behind the dumpster, almost too fast for comfort. The air became electrified. Audra tightened her hold. "It's Carter," she said softly. "He followed me. I think he knows we're on him." Lily's pulse raced as the weight of Audra's words set in. Carter Montgomery, Victor's mysterious new protege with a resume too wonderful to be true, had always irritated Lily, but she attributed it to her own stress. But this? "Are you stalking Audra? Lurking in the shadows at night?" This was something darker. Carter suddenly stepped into the streetlight's brightness. His face was placid, almost too calm, with that weird smirk Lily had seen once before, at the Dumas Gala, when she caught him staring at her and Damien with unnerving fascination. "Ladies," he replied softly and slowly, "are you going for a stroll?" When Audra stepped back, shivering, Lily automatically went in front of her, covering her like a sister. "What are you doing here, Carter?" Lily inquired, bringing steel into her voice. Carter didn't respond. He kept creeping closer, hands in his pockets, eyes flitting between them as if calculating something. "You know," he remarked, his voice low now, "you two really shouldn't go poking into things you don't understand." Lily narrowed her gaze. "You mean what you're hiding from Victor?" That caused him to pause, just for a second, but it was enough. Audra took a breath and found her voice. "We know about the money laundering. We know you were at the warehouse the night Rafe went missing." Carter inclined his head. "Do you? Do you believe you know?" That's when Lily noticed it, a glitter of metal in his jacket. Not a cannon, but a switchblade. Her blood turned icy. "Audra," she muttered quietly, "run." But before they could move, a car engine screamed behind them and dazzling headlights illuminated the alley. Tires shrieked. Carter's eyes flashed with wrath and panic as he raced, disappearing into the darkness. A black SUV approached them and Victor Newman stepped out, looking like a ghost in the darkness. "Get in," he said, not waiting for debate. Inside the SUV, the anxiety was palpable. Victor said nothing for the first few minutes, allowing them to breathe and let the adrenaline subside. Finally, he turned to Lily and Audra. "I've been following Carter for several weeks. But I didn't expect him to turn on any of you." Lily's voice remained firm, though she was still shivering slightly. "Do you know anything about him, Victor? Who is he, really?" Victor's face was engraved in stone. "Carter Montgomery is not who he claims he is. He is not from the location stated on his resume. In fact, his real name isn't even Carter." Audra's jaw fell. "So he forged everything?" "He's been embedded with the Newmans under false pretenses," Victor explained. "And I let it happen to see where it would lead." Lily looked at him, shocked. "You realized he was dangerous?" Victor did not blink. "I suspected." That night, Victor scheduled a meeting at the ranch for Nick, Victoria, Nate, and Devin. Damien was notably absent, making Lily anxious. Victor exhibited blurry but revealing security footage of Carter meeting with an unknown man, handing him a flash drive and receiving a hefty envelope. "This is from 3 nights ago," Victor added, his brows narrowing, "and the man he met is connected to the Sicilian banking families." The entire room froze. Nick leaned forward. "So we are discussing international crime?" Victor murmured, "Worse. He's part of something far more insidious." Meanwhile, Carter did not vanish. In fact, the next morning, he showed up at society as if nothing had occurred, charming the waitstaff, casually ordering an espresso, and acting as if he hadn't just tortured 2 women the night prior. When Lily and Audra arrived, Victor offered them a wink as his team watched from across the room. Lily felt bile rise in her throat as she said, "Good morning, ladies." Audra flinched. Victor wasn't far behind, coming into the cafe with a presence that made everyone quiet. "Carter. We need to discuss," he continued, his voice sounding like a gunshot. Within seconds, the room was empty. They entered the back area, where Victor closed the door and turned, eyes burning. "Sit down." Carter did not flinch. He smirked. "Did you find out?" Victor crossed his arms. "Who do you work for?" Carter leaned back, amused. "You're constantly asking the wrong questions, Victor. It is not for whom I am working. It's what I'm pursuing." "Answer me," Victor demanded. Carter's eyes glittered. "I'm chasing what every man wants, leverage. And right now, I have it. You have been laundering money. Spying on my family. Intimidating the Winters women. That is not leverage. That's suicide," Carter said, laughing. "Do you think I am terrified of you? You're just an elderly man who holds a grudge. What about me? I am the future of power in this town." Victor did not blink. "You are done here, Carter. Leave Genoa City. Or I'll bury you so deeply that no one will remember your name." "You can't touch me," Carter replied. "If anything happens to me, certain files are released. About Newman Enterprises. About Jabot. Even about Chancellor Winters." Lily tensed. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Carter looked her dead in the eyes. "Check your office servers." With that, he strode out, as if he hadn't already declared war. Devin verified it just minutes afterward. Several vital servers had been accessed. "Files are corrupted." Confidential emails have been leaked. He wasn't bluffing, Devin murmured. He's got something on all of us. Panic spread around the room, but Victor stayed calm. Then we move ahead of him. We expose him before he exposes us. However, it was not as simple. The media was already smelling. Anonymous tips were reaching GC Buzz. Phyllis received a cryptic communication regarding Newman's offshore funds. Tucker McCall suddenly expressed an interest in purchasing minority stock in Chancellor Winters. Chaos was blossoming. Throughout it all, Lily couldn't sleep. Carter's image in that alley, with the knife glinting in his coat, tormented her. Audra barely left her apartment, flinching with each knock. Victor was growing more reclusive, planning a counterattack in private. A few days later, Victor summoned Lily and Audra back to the ranch. "I need your help," he said, words he rarely used. Carter's agenda is not about money. It's all about distraction. What is he attempting to hide? Audra inquired. Victor drew a breath. There is a name. Raphael Dumas. Lily blinked. Is this the same Dumas from Damien's estate? Yes. And Carter was observed with someone who fit Dumas' brother's description in Monaco last month. Lily's brain reeled. So, Damien's family. Does this come back to them? Victor nodded. Carter could be attempting to dismantle the entire Winters legacy or manipulate Damien's connection to the Dumas fortune. We need to find out what he truly wants, and fast. They decided to confront Damien, who had been strangely silent during all. When they found him, his reaction was cool and calculated. I told you the past would come back, he remarked to Lily. But you didn't want to listen. You knew Carter was dangerous, she said. And you said nothing. I didn't realize how deep he was. But if he's connected to Dumas' secrets, then we're all more in danger than you realize. As Genoa City readied for what was to come, one thing became clear: Carter was no ordinary con man. He was the spark that ignited a fuse beneath decades of hidden misdeeds. Victor's grilling was just the beginning. The war had begun, and Lily and Audra, once hesitant allies, were now essential participants in a maelstrom that threatened not only their lives but also the empires they had helped construct.